Welcome to Bed Crime Stories Podcast. I'm your host, T, wishing you a happy Sunday. If you like true crime and scary stories, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want to support the work I do, as I'm currently not monetized, please consider a Patreon membership. You can find out how to do that in the description of this video. When I was but a wee lass, my father came home from work one day with 2 dolls for my collection. They were antique dolls from the 1950s or 40s, and unfortunately, I took an instant dislike to them. It wasn't really that I disliked them, it was more about me being afraid of them. You see, they were life-size toddlers dressed in the style of the 50s. Pleated dresses, Mary Jane shoes, and what I felt was a very scary expression on their painted faces. The only place to put these jumbo dolls, which actually came with stands, was in our basement family room. The dolls were so lifelike that somewhere deep down inside me, I always feared that one day I would catch them blink or worse, move out of the corner of my eye. To me, the dolls gave off bad juju. And basically, I wanted nothing to do with them. And I never did play with them, and neither did my friends. But every time I went downstairs, I tracked those dolls from the corners of my eyes. And when it was time to go upstairs, I ran as fast as I could, often tripping at the top of the staircase. I'd then turn around to look down and see if anything had followed me. I was truly terrified of those dolls. That may be why this next story scares me to the bone. I'm talking about a giant Raggedy Ann doll named Annabelle, who, according to some, is truly possessed by a spirit so dark and dangerous that it allegedly led to car accidents and even death. She was oversized, nearly 3 feet tall, soft cloth limbs, red yarn hair, and behind that innocent face lurked something ancient and hungry. It's not a movie prop, it's real. And those who've dared to move her or mock her have paid the price. This is Annabelle, the doll that should never have been moved. In 1970, a young nursing student named Donna received a birthday present from her mother, a large Raggedy Ann doll, almost child-sized, with button eyes and a fixed smile. It looked harmless, maybe even charming. But soon Donna noticed things that she couldn't quite explain. Each day, the doll's position changed. Arms shifted, legs crossed. Sometimes the doll appeared in another room entirely, sitting in a chair by the door as if waiting. Then came the notes, tiny pieces of parchment paper scrawled in childish handwriting. They said, "Help me." But Donna didn't own any parchment paper. One night she found the doll kneeling beside her bed, a position pretty much impossible for a cloth doll. The air felt thick and the room grew cold. Something had entered the apartment. Desperate for answers, Donna and her roommate Angie contacted a medium. Then they had a seance. During the seance, the medium's voice grew soft. She said, quote, "There's a little girl here. Her name is Annabelle Higgins. She died on this land long before these apartments were built." The spirit told the medium that she was lonely and that she just wanted to be loved. So, out of compassion, Donna agreed to let her stay. She told the spirit, "You can live inside the doll." Donna's message was meant as kindness, but it was actually an invitation. Because what was actually in that doll was not a child. It was something pretending to be one. Donna's friend Lou absolutely hated the doll. He said it made him feel like he was being watched, almost studied. One night when he stayed at Donna's house, Lou awoke suddenly. He was frozen in bed, unable to move or scream. At the foot of the bed, the doll sat upright, and then it began to climb up the bed, slowly, deliberately, soft fabric pressing against his body, then tightening around his throat. Lou gasped and woke up. It had been a nightmare, or so he thought. The next day, while checking on strange noises in the house, Lou felt something rake across his chest. He looked down and saw 7 deep claw marks. They were bleeding, and then they vanished 2 days later. For Donna, that was the final straw. She called a priest. Donna and Angie turned to Father Hegan, a local Episcopalian priest. He listened to their story, the moving doll, the notes, the scratches on Lou's chest. Then he made another call to Father Cook, a higher-ranking priest. Father Cook had handled strange cases like this before. But this one, he said, needed specialists. So he contacted Ed and Lorraine Warren. They were a husband and wife team from Connecticut, and they were known for investigating the supernatural. Ed Warren was actually a demonologist, as well as a devout Catholic who spent his life studying inhuman possession. Lorraine Warren was a clairvoyant, meaning a sensitive soul who claimed she could feel and sometimes see the dead. Together, the Warrens founded the New England Society for Psychic Research, one of the oldest ghost hunting organizations in America. Together, they faced poltergeists, hauntings, and demonic infestations, always being guided by their faith. And when they arrived at Donna's apartment, they immediately sensed what the priests had feared. The spirit in the doll wasn't human. Lorraine later said that the spirit had a goal, and that was to trick Donna so that the spirit could be accepted, invited, trusted, and then it could possess a living host. The Warrens performed a binding ritual and arranged for a full exorcism of the apartment. Afterwards, the disturbances seemed to stop. But Ed warned Donna. He said that it was a very dangerous being, and so the Warrens ended up taking Annabelle the doll home with them. As the Warrens drove through the dark Connecticut countryside, their car began to shake. The steering wheel locked and the brakes failed. Every time Ed reached for the doll, the car swerved violently. Finally, he pulled over, sprinkled holy water over the doll, and prayed aloud. Only then did the car fall silent. Lorraine whispered, "It doesn't want to leave." Once they were home, the Warrens placed the oversized doll in Ed's study. But the doll didn't stay still. The Warrens claimed that they saw the doll levitate, change rooms, and even growl. A visiting priest once picked the doll up and laughed, "You're just a doll." But Ed warned him not to mock it. Hours later, the priest's car crashed head-on into another vehicle. The priest survived, but just barely. His first words to Ed were, "I should have listened." The Warrens were so terrified of this doll that they built a sealed glass and wood case to put it in. They blessed the case and they hung a sign that read, "Warning, positively do not open." For decades, visitors to the Warrens Occult Museum said they could feel the air shift around the doll's case. The air became cold. It felt heavy, and there was a feeling that the doll was watching them. One man apparently laughed and tapped on the glass, daring the doll to do something. And the story goes that hours later, he died in a motorcycle crash. Coincidence or consequence? In 2025, Annabelle left her case. The New England Society for Psychic Research launched a cross-country exhibition called The Devil's on the Run Tour. Leading it was a man named Dan Rivera, a veteran paranormal investigator and a longtime caretaker of the doll. He respected Annabelle. He never mocked the doll. He said to reporters, "She's not a toy, she's a warning." But strange things began to happen on the road during the tour. Lights would flicker.
Look at this shit, guys. This is what I'm talking about.
Slam.
Is that you flickering that light?
Whispers in empty hotel hallways. Then, in July of 2025, during a stop in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, Dan Rivera was found dead in his hotel room. The authorities called it natural causes. The doll wasn't in the hotel room, but believers whispered she didn't have to be in there. Soon after Rivera's death, Annabelle was returned to Connecticut. Her owners said she's home, and the tour was suddenly over. Today, Annabelle sits once again behind glass. She is still, she's silent, but she's watching. And visitors to the museum continue to claim that they feel the air around the doll's case is colder. Skeptics call it superstition, believers call it proof, but everyone now agrees Annabelle should never, ever be moved again.